Hi, I'm Jelle.
And I'm Bram. TUnit.
TUnit, yeah.
Tell me.
TUnit, tell me. Okay, so if I say unit testing framework, can you name one or two?
One or two or three. xUnit, NUnit, MS Test.
You've done a great round. So yeah, TUnit is basically taking what NUnit and xUnit were doing quite well, setting it to the newest Microsoft platform for testing, and going, I can't improve much, but I'm going to improve a little bit. So it's, let's say this is unit testing framework-wise, this is kind of a startup scale-up phase where it's in right now, but I'm going to try to convince everyone that if you're starting a new unit testing project right now, and you don't need to be consistent with your other unit testing projects in your solution, or you want to try something new, I'd go for TUnit.
You would go from the get-go?
Yep.
So it's that mature in your opinion?
Yes, but mostly because it has borrowed / stolen a lot from NUnit and xUnit, so you can steal maturity now.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so what is TUnit?
I'm intrigued.
Basically, you mentioned the test platform. So Microsoft has done a new testing platform where they're like, okay, we're going to make sure that testing gets a bit more easy. But NUnit and xUnit are currently, I think they support both, but they need to work on both. And TUnit says we're going to be solely focused on the new testing platform, which is great.
Sounds exciting.
So if this is where I lose everyone who's still working in .NET Framework application, I think you can get TUnit to work. I wouldn't. But so yeah, stick with NUnit. It is very similar to NUnit and xUnit. It's like them, it's attribute based. So you just put some attributes above your test and you're like, hooray, my test is a test now, and also I can do some stuff with it. I have some functionality in my test. But it's doing, it's different in that it does source generation. So it doesn't use reflection to find the unit tests in your solution. Basically, you generate a test project, which is really cool.
That makes it very speedy, right?
That is an excellent analysis. There's a lot of stuff that makes TUnit very, very speedy. This is one of them. I think I have not done any testing. That's more your thing, but the internet is buzzing with, whew, it's a lot faster.
A lot faster, which is green as well then.
It is green, and I like green tests, so this is it's all coming together. So there's a lot of lifecycle hooks in this as well. So where you have the before test and before test class or after test. The TUnit just is brimming with hooking into certain parts of your tests, which if you don't use it, good. If you use it, you can set up very complex but very durable test cycles.
So that makes your mocking, for example, very, very to the point. You only load a library or your mocks when you need them. So not before all, but just in time.
Yeah, but it also makes it very easy to basically say, when you're rounding down a generic test, you hook into your lifecycle and say, hey, if the test failed, because we have a context, then do the work to get like a screenshot and a video. And there exist unit tests where it's like, you might want to, so it's not as easy to basically check where a test has failed, which it can be a bit of a problem.
Does that mean that you can rerun specific tests instead of your whole test suite? We have other test frameworks that say, okay, if your unit tests fail, just run them all over again, all of them, and this
you can, and because for unit tests, I would say, whew, that's a bad practice, don't do it. TUnit can be used, it's called unit, but it can be used with stuff like Playwright. So it can be used for integration or end-to-end tests as well, which is really cool. And then I would say, I love tests that target the UI, but sometimes you do need to retry. That's a rhyme that you can stick in your pocket. So let's use some marketing language. TUnit is new and exciting, which basically does mean it's kind of it's not completely there yet. But you asked me earlier, do you think it's mature? I do.
Okay.
I do. It's mature enough, and that is because so much of it is basically a reworking of the principles and ideas that are working in NUnit and xUnit.
That have been proven.
Yeah,
okay.
So like you have really flexible data injection,
okay.
which for data-driven testing, which is kind of, I won't say the norm, but it is out there.
Yeah.
That's really great. My biggest, not at the moment, but this might have already changed when this goes out. I love autofixture.
Mm-hmm.
There's no direct support yet. Of course, you can basically mock up something yourself, but there's no library as of yet.
Okay, but maybe it's on the roadmap. Could be.
Yeah, I've checked. It is on the roadmap,
Cool.
but the roadmap is being implemented. It's open source, but there's one main guy, and you know, it's not. You guys should help him out, Tom Hurst. Go help him. So you mentioned, is it fast? It's fast. It's also parallel. We have async. We have all those good. If you don't do anything weird, this is going to be faster than your NUnit or xUnit suite.
Nice.
What you do need to do is make sure that you use the testing platform server mode in preview. And it's going to be still in preview when this goes out. It's going to not be in preview if you're watching 1 year later. Hi, by the way. But for now, you need to check that box in your settings, in your options.
And like you said, preview is not that scary. It's quite mature. So you can use it in production.
Yes,
okay.
I would indeed advise anyone to start using this preview feature fast, because Microsoft is clearly intending to use this in the coming time, decades, hopefully decades. All right, so there's a quick comparison possible between NUnit, xUnit, and TUnit.
Yep.
And this brings me to the documentation. So the documentation is good. It helped me set up a quick project. It's not vast, which is a good thing because you don't have to search, which is a bad thing because not everything is out there. But we have some examples. There's a playwright example. But I want to go into the attributes where we're like, okay, so basically anything NUnit or xUnit can do, TUnit can do as well. And I have done some work to actually get this to work. So I have written a few tests. We have a clear, beautiful calculator. This is a terrible calculator because I'm keeping a current value in it. So it does work like the UI of a calculator, when you plus a 5, minus 3, and then it will keep updating. Code-wise, this is terrible, but that means that I get to test it because terrible code is a lot more fun to test. So I've written this class in TUnit, and as you can see, because I've done all the correct things, it gets picked up by my test explorer. If you're doing something wrong with your TUnit configuration, like you're not using the correct Microsoft testing platform, then they won't show up. Okay. But for now, we have a lot of tests.
Intelligence already enabled?
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
and
cool.
It all works. So basically, if I was skimming over this, I wouldn't know that it was TUnit unless someone told me. I have put it in the namespace for now, but you can do all the things you expect. So this is basically, we're putting arguments in the test and we're just injecting them.
Yep.
But also up here, I have a calculator. So that's the subject under test. And I inject that into the entire class. Clean, easy, no hassle.
Yeah.
So I have got a few tests that should be working, and I've got one test that I expect to fail, which is the overflow test, because my calculator does a really nice overflow. And let's see, we're running. I should have built a project before because now the demo seems slow, but that's my thing.
It's a real world example.
It's a real world example.
With building.
And I fixed the test already. Oh yeah, I put down the throws nothing, which is correct. It doesn't throw, it just overflows. And normally I wouldn't want that, the silent overflow. But so the test does indeed indicate that my calculator will not throw. I've got some tests working, and I'm really happy with this because basically it removes like the small annoyances that I have with NUnit or xUnit if the customer is using that. But it's not too much of a change.
Okay. Is the transition, how is the transition? Could you transition?
I would not transition. If you have a NUnit suite, if you have an xUnit suite, it's not worth the hassle of updating everything to TUnit. I would not do that because you're not going to be using any of the features anyway. But if you're setting up something new, I'd look into TUnit. Yeah.
Well, what's the website again?
So the website is basically very simple. You can find him at the name of the author.github.io, but it's over there.
Go help him. Go
Thank you so
TUnit.
much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.